Thank you, Ambassador Hotobelli, for your kind words. For the record, as I carry the honorable title of an ex-politician, I'm allowed now to not take the credit for myself. So the credit really goes to my family. Hila is here, and Ophir, who is running next October. I'm just part of a team, and humbled and privileged to come here to London again a year later. Next October may sound as a family story, but it is not. It is the story of all of us in Israel. It is the story of all those brave entrepreneurs who came in here this morning from Israel, along with investors and other people who represent our vivid ecosystem of the Israeli innovation economy. We are all here as from October 7th, and we are utilizing our famous Israeli optimism, resilience, and the spirit of entrepreneurship to take all of us to the next level. So this is where I come from. This is where I served proudly as the most part of my career. Is Guy here in the room? Guy Holtzman? Hello. So this is the person in charge of the numbers. All of you entrepreneurs or people who have been using IVC, we took these numbers from the latest IVC report. Thank you for producing them for so many years. As you can see, I'm a proud member of a community of more than 8,500 tech companies, close to 3,000 investors, close to 500 accelerators, and more than 500 multinational companies, all of which comprise and build the very strong and active Israeli innovation ecosystem. We are representing about 11% of our workforce, but the good news are that we are paying a lot of taxes to our government. We need to afford this war and many other projects and activities. So those 11% of the workforce represent more than 30% of the taxes paid in Israel. And this is one of the reasons that we all have to continue to work so hard in order to continue to produce and to be active. And here's where we approach the October 7th story. Those of you who have not been to any of our kibbutzim in the south of Israel, this is how kibbutz Kfar Aza looks. This is a picture I took with my own cell phone in January of this year. This is the young people neighborhood in Kfar Aza, where many of the people were either murdered brutally or taken as hostages to Gaza. And this is where our story begins as well. Yaron, our son, Ophir's brother, was a combat fighter in the Nahal Brigade in a special patrol unit. They were stationed in the southern part of the border on October 7th. The unit has been serving there for a few weeks near a kibbutz called Kerem Shalom, which ironically translates to English as Vineyards of Peace. Vineyards of Peace is the name of the kibbutz where Yaron and two of his friends within the same unit engaged immediately a little bit after 6:29 a.m. in the morning, where the war started. They engaged in a very significant battle at the entrance to kibbutz Kerem Shalom, trying to prevent many dozens of Hamas Nukba terrorists. This is the highly trained, very well-equipped part of Hamas. This is the Hamas terrorist unit that tried to get into that kibbutz. Today, we know that they carried the same orders that they did in other establishments in that area. Their mission was to torture, to burn, to kidnap, to kill as many people as they could. That was the mission for the Kerem Shalom Hamas terrorists. This is what they were trying to accomplish, and they were not able to make it happen because of 3 Israeli soldiers, one of them, Yaron, who stood there at the entrance to the kibbutz and fought there for close to an hour until they were able to defer that attack. Many of the Hamas terrorists lost their lives over there. Many of them just went away back to Gaza, which is just 300 meters away from the kibbutz. And this is where Yaron lost his life. This is an actual picture of the jeep that these 3 soldiers were using when protecting the kibbutz. By the way, one of those soldiers is Yoav Levison, UK, London-born, made Aliyah to Israel at the age of 18, and 5 years later finds himself in this significant battle, saving the hundreds of people's lives in that battle. And this is a picture from within the kibbutz. This is a cemented wall. Down here on the road is where that jeep stood. This is a picture we took a few months later. The people in the kibbutz didn't really realize what happened there until a few weeks later. All they knew is that like 12 to 18 hours post the morning of October 7th, they were evacuated safely from the kibbutz. And one day when the IDF allows them to, hopefully within a few months from now, they will go to their houses. The kibbutz was kept safe and intact. And we began to get messages from people from within the kibbutz, realizing what happened to them. This is a message I got to my personal cell phone from Hannah Lilienthal. For those of you who find it hard to read, she says, "My name is Hannah Lilienthal. I'm a member of Kibbutz Kerem Shalom. I've just become aware of Yaron's falling while protecting my house and the kibbutz that I so much love. He, together with his friends, saved my life, my husband's life, the lives of my 4 children. One of them is a 10 days old baby. My parents' lives, my grandmother's life, and my brother's lives. He saved the lives of so many of my friends, families, and many visitors who stayed with us at Kerem Shalom that day. I have not enough words to thank for this. I just wanted you to know how much we appreciate, cherish, and endlessly thank him for his devotion and sacrifice while protecting our kibbutz. There are not enough words." Thank you. Ophir will tell you the story of next October, which we actually came up with on the days of the Shiva for Yaron. In our backyard, in our house, we started thinking as to how do we want to commemorate him and his special legacy. And we said, this is not only about Yaron, this is about all those heroes that we lost on that day. And from that point, we moved into not only soldiers, these are all the civilians, the many civilians, the 3-month-old baby from Kibbutz Be'eri, the 87-year-old lady from Kibbutz Kfar Aza, and all other civilians. They all deserve to be commemorated, and we have to live up to their sacrifice and to deserve their sacrifice. And this is how the Next October initiative came about.
Good morning, everyone. For those of you who didn't get the chance to meet me last year or maybe this morning, my name is Ophir Shay. I'm Yaron, or Noni's older brother, as we called him at home. Noni was always my closest friend, closest person to me, and that's what led me to Next October. I have to apologize because almost exactly a year ago, December 14th, the day after Noni's birthday, we were here. I feel like I was completely disoriented. Many people who have introduced themselves to me that day thought I would remember, thought I was in the conversation, but I was deeply still in October. But I'm here today to share with you some of our progress in the last year. Before that, I want to remind some of you who were already in this room last year, a similar room last year, and some of you who have not heard about Next October yet, what we are here to do. So to begin, we have 3 main objectives here at Next October. First, and above everything else, is the commemoration effort that we are part of creating here. My brother, to me, will never be a name on a stone, and so will, unfortunately, over 1,800 other individuals to their families and their close relatives. We're here to create an economic impact with the startups that we are collecting and the startups that are joining us along the way. And at the end of the day, we think this could be our message to the world. I'm fortunate enough not to be a politician, so I have no idea about foreign policy or anything like that. But to me, I think our statement to the world of entrepreneurship, of resilience, and of optimism is the best answer there could be. And how we're going to do that is by assigning the names of the different victims and fallen soldiers to these startups along the way, track this commemoration along the years, along with suggesting ongoing commemoration ideas. And then the second half of the Next October operation is more business-oriented. So events like these, mentorship opportunities, and so forth and so on. And what are the startups committing to? So first of all, just to make this clear, the startups are here to build good businesses. but they're committing to doing good in general. 2, we want them to honor their victims based on their capacity. We understand that a startup with just 10 team members is not able to afford what global Google or Apple are able to afford. But 10 people can be a super meaningful part to any family. They can be there on Yom HaZikaron, which is Israel's National Remembrance Day. They can come there to the ballet class where they talk about a daughter that was lost. They can come to the youth movement, the local chapter. They can go to the football team that a best friend of somebody supported, and become part of the family's journey. And then, of course, we want these startups to be mindful of who these individuals are when commemorating them. Like I said, to us, my brother, my parents' son, will never be another name on a stone. He's a whole world. He was a comedian. He was an athlete. You may see me wearing this pin over here. He was a musician as well, and we want him to be commemorated for being such a person. We've recently extended our reach. We were targeting only early stage companies when we first started. We want a little later companies to join us along the way as well, so we're now accepting startups up to Series A. And we have our team of analysts who are making sure these startups are the right startups joining us and making sure they have valid business ideas before we move on with them and connect them with the families. Of course, we want an Israeli connection as well. And as far as investors, for you investors in the room, we are welcoming investors to make contact with our startups. If you want to get in touch with us and maybe even organize an event with our startups, meet them somehow, please, please, please make yourself visible to us. For those of you who are a little more involved in the Israeli ecosystem, you will probably recognize some of the names on our steering committee already, as well as most likely at least 10 logos on this list over here. We have a whole ecosystem in Israel dedicated to the Next October cause. We have small startups to the largest legal firms in Israel, to accounting firms, and you name it. Everybody is part of this Next October vision, and we would like to welcome you to join the same vision. Now, since we are a year ahead, we did make progress this year. We wanted to show a tiny little glimpse into what we've achieved so far in terms of commemoration. So I chose 3 different stories that show very different examples of commemoration to hopefully help you understand the idea behind Next October. So the first idea we have over here is a company called Microcon. The company's founder, Chen Almog, was the commander of a unit known in Israel as Ophir the Sky Rider unit, which is one of Israel's drone units in the IDF. Unfortunately, Chen, like me, the founder, he lost his younger brother on the day of October 7th. When filing his application for Next October, he realized it would be too much for him to carry that name and see it every single day. And so he asked our commemoration team to match him with somebody from his original unit in the IDF. What we did is our commemoration team connected him with Eden Nimri. Eden was a female soldier in the Sky Rider unit, the Ophir unit. On the morning of October 7th, for those of you who know the base of Nachal Oz, she ran in her pajamas, gathered her soldiers, put them in shelter, and fought to save their lives, which, by the way, she managed to do, despite the fact that she lost her life in the Battle of Nachal Oz. A few months later, you can now look at the picture of the entrance to their office, to Microcon's office. The picture you see over here tells a story of from what we hear from the family, an intelligent, ambitious young lady who unfortunately lost her life there. You can see a part of a drone that the founder picked up from the base and is now on display in her memory. Every customer, every prospect, every VC, everybody walking into their office forever will now see the story of the swimmer, the athlete, and the young fighter, Eden Nimri. Another example, on a completely different end of the spectrum, is Hanada Kritzman. I'll start with Brainies, the company itself. Brainies is an ed tech platform. Their device is now placed all over Israel and I think all over the world by now as well. They have an interactive device that helps teach usually underprivileged societies with stories. So in Israel, they work with the ultra-Orthodox community, they work with the Arab community, and many, many other sectors of the society. What they did, by the way, this is the family of Hanaleh in the picture. What they did is, first of all, Hanaleh was known for her stories in the kibbutz where she was from, Kibbutz Be'eri. Hannah lost her life at the age of 88 in that day, in that battle, while trying to be rescued. But since her stories were so ingrained in Kibbutz Be'eri, the family shared the stories, and her students over the years shared her stories with Brainies, and they integrated it into their own platform. So her stories, with all of her morals and everything she shared along the way, are now integrated into their platform, shared across the country, across the world. Also, Hanaleh was a volunteer in the local library. The library is currently being reconstructed, and Brainies dedicated a few of their devices to be installed within the library as well. But like I said, we try to connect stories across the entire Israeli spectrum, the entire Israeli society. One of our last stories here is of Fenota, which is a medtech company. They have a AI solution to help read blood tests better. On the other hand, we have Sufyan Dagash, who is a member of the Druze community in northern Israel. From what his father says, from his story, on the morning of October 7th, Sufyan was at home. He saw what was happening down south in Israel, and he told his father, "I can't sit still." He drove down south since he said, "I cannot see what is happening to my brothers and sisters and stand still." Unfortunately, 2 months later, he lost his life in Gaza. The connection we made here became a personal family connection. I know that Sufyan's family has been celebrating Jewish holidays with the founders' families, and the founders have learned to celebrate the Druze holidays as well, connecting stories from a completely different world. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. As of right now, this moment, we have roughly 350 startups committed to the Next October idea, many of which, by the way, are here with us today. So I want to welcome you to interact with them directly. Make sure to get their business cards, their LinkedIn, see how you can get involved with their companies. That's why we are here today. We have hundreds of business development partners. We have so many qualified mentors, as well as over 60 volunteers. You may have heard my mother's name, Hila, here. She manages them fiercely. Everybody's afraid of her, including me. We had dozens of ecosystem events in Israel, sometimes maybe 4 times a week even. We cannot attend them on our own. Next October is much bigger than us now. We have volunteers at events every single day. We had 7 international conferences, including this one over here. We opened the stock markets in Israel, in the NASDAQ, and of course here in the UK as well. And if you want to become part of this Next October vision, as part of this ongoing legacy, I want to welcome you all to join us on our website. We are actively seeking more startups to join us. With quick math, you can see that 350 is not even half of the outstanding number that just keeps growing and growing by the day. 1,800 startups and growing is what we will need. So please, if you know Israeli early stage startups, lead them to our website, nextoctober.org, and have them join us. If you want to help us fund our operation as well, you are more than welcome to do so. The video you're about to watch was taken by my family in Kibbutz Kerem Shalom just this summer, 10 months after October 7th. The girls you're about to see in this video, on the day of October 7th, were hiding in shelter. These girls are somebody's daughter, somebody's granddaughter, somebody's first friend at preschool. The fact that they are able to dance and sing and be happy, and the fact that they will be able to one day grow their own family, live a happy life, and the fact that they will be able to have their own daughters, granddaughters, and future friends is thanks to my baby brother and his friends on the morning of October 7th. And we found no better way to finish this presentation with a symbolic, optimistic moment in our life at least, because this is what we are here to stand for, and I truly hope you're here to stand with us with that vision. At the end of the day, we want to remind you what we've been saying since day one with Next October. They came to destroy, and we're here to build a better world through our resilience, our optimism, our entrepreneurial spirit, and we truly hope that you'll join us in that spirit and in that vision. Thank you very much.